Don 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 elk. Today we're going to go on an archery hunt for elk, but we're also going to go through some basic principles of how to archery hunt and how to be successful. First of all, as I noted in my earlier video, if you're part Indian, you've got a great advantage in bow hunting if you put a feather in your hat, such as this. And I would not recommend it if you're not an Indian. Just don't do it. If you're an Indian, it heightens your awareness that you're able to sense things that others cannot sense. But if you're not Indian, you don't have some Indian blood, just forget about it and do the best that you can. Today we're going to talk about attitudes. We're going to talk about scent control and sense. Talk about calling, we're going to talk about the setup. Now first of all, when we talk about attitudes, it's really important to understand that each of us come to the table with a different skill set and abilities, and it's important for you to do the best you can in any situation out there when you're hunting. Remember that it's not all about getting the elk. It's the experience that's important. Remember what they taught you in school years ago? It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. And let's just start right off by saying, that's just a bunch of baloney. I don't know who came up with that stuff, but get all of that loser mentality out of your mind and decide right now that you're going to be an elk killer. That's right, you're a killer, you're not a loser. And just change all that stuff. Wipe those negative thoughts in your mind that's been in there all the time, that it's all about the hunt. It's not about killing the elk. It's about getting your elk. Now, when you come home and your friends say to you, well, did you get an elk? You say, no, I didn't get an elk. And they ask you again, did you get an elk? No, I didn't get an elk. After a while, they're not going to ask you to get an elk. They're going to say, did you see an elk? And then you're going to say, well, no, I didn't see an elk, or I saw one elk, or something like that. Pretty soon they're just going to quit talking to you. They're not going to ask you because they see you coming and say, hey, that's that loser coming again. They're not going to be talking to you. And now I know it. I'm saying this because my heart is hurt. I've been in that black space, and I don't want you to go in that hole. So wash all that away and think positive. Dream of the biggest of bulls. Hunt for the biggest of racks. Climb the highest mountain and kill the biggest of bulls. Let's talk here a little bit about scent control. Now, scent control can go in several different ways, scentless or with scent. So first of all, it's understanding that out here in the mountains, being scentless is an illusion. Nobody's scentless out here in the mountains. Now back east where the whitetail hunters, they ride in heated vehicles and they got air conditioners and they got scent lock stuff and all that. That works well. But when you're out here in the mountains and you're hunting for day after day and you're running through the brush, you're covered with dirt and grime, and you're hanging out there and not going back to town, and you're covered with even your own blood, you are not scentless. So just get that in your head. Nobody's scentless out here. And so to get past that, we've got to say we got to use some kind of cover scent or attractant scent. Now something that is really a cool thing to do is get yourself a cow elk. Just think about it. You got yourself a cow elk, you got a decoy there. You got an animal that makes the real sounds. It goes, meow, meow. And you get in the season, you got a cow elk, you got everything you need to pull a bull elk in. And so you take this cow elk out to the woods with you, and you're hanging out there, and he's going, roar, and she's going, meow, meow. You got a perfect situation of a bull falling in love with this young lady, and he's going to come running in, and she's going to be waiting there, and you're going to be shooting this guy. Well, get that out of your mind. It ain't going to happen that way. I mean, that's the kind of stuff Hollywood writes about. You know, it's the guy and the girl, they meet each other, they live happily ever after. And it doesn't happen that way with you and me. Understand that. And so what's going to happen is you're going to go out there in the woods, you're going to spend all the time with that cow elk, she's going to take care of you, you're going to be grooming, you're going to be feeding her everything. She's going to come and see, she's going to be elk, she's going to go out there, she's doing meow, meow, meow. Bull's going to do his thing. She's going to leave you alone at the party. She's going to dump you. That's it. I know that's just, I hate to say it, she is going to dump you. So just get it out of your mind and just save yourself the agony of going through that. Now, the other thing you can do is you can just cover yourself with all this elk scent, and that stuff's good stuff. It smells like a cow elk, and so it comes with little bottles and gels. You can rub it on yourself. You can just spray it in your, and you just smell like a cow elk. And the bull elks will come. Bottom line, you'll smell just like a cow elk. But also, you're going to have grizzly bears and black bears, and you're going to have wolves and mountain lions if you're hunting out east. Now, if you're hunting back east, great. Use that stuff, spray it all over you. Whatever you want to do with it, it's great. But if you're out here in the mountains of western Montana, you don't want to be putting that stuff on yourself. You're going to be at the bottom of the food chain real quick. So don't be doing that. Now, the fourth way, and this is what I really recommend, it works really great for me, is you find yourself somebody to hunt with, somebody that's big and strong and can pack a lot of weight, and you take them along hunting with you, and you let them hunt with you, and you hang out together, you let them pack your animals out and do stuff like that, and you'll notice after 4 or 5 days like that, you'll be hiking along and you smell that? I smell elk. You ask your buddy, you smell it? I don't smell anything. You walk along, you smell it again. You smell it? I smell animal. I smell elk. And they'll say, you smell it? No, I don't see. They'll say, I don't smell a thing. And then the light comes on. You may have been there before. Your buddy's turned into an animal. He's primal. He smells like the animal. You got the greatest thing. Now you got a packer, and now you got somebody to provide cover scent and attracting scent all in one package. And so all you need to do is keep them out there in the open. Keep them out in the open. Keep the shooting lanes open between them and you. And so when the elk comes in, or the bull elk comes in, or a mule buck comes in, you got a clean shot, or you got a grizzly bear comes in, you don't have tags for that, but you may have to protect your loving hunting partner, or a black bear, or a mountain lion, or a wolf. Be sure you got the right tags for those animals, and you're ready to do some harvesting. And so it could be a good thing. So it's really good to have a talk, a down-to-earth talk with your hunting buddy before you get in a situation like that. That what are you going to do if a bear jumps on them, or a mountain lion jumps on them, or a wolf jumps on them? What are you going to do? And you say, you just play dead, and I'll be there to take care of you. And just convince them they need to lay there and let that animal chew on them until you can get a good, clean shot. Now, it's up to you. It's up to me to keep our cool in a situation that, because you're jumping around, he's thrashing around, you make a bad shot, you could ruin a cape. He's a big bear, and you glance your broadhead off the corner of his skull and knock off a corner of it, it can knock you out of the books if it's a really nice bear. And so take your time, go for it. The bear will be on top of him, get low, make that shot, got that? If it's a lion, it's going to be a tougher shot. It's going to be chewing on the back of his neck, kind of flipping him around. It's going to be more of a moving shot. And if it's a wolf, it'll be dragging him, but that's clean, because usually you get a good clean shot there, and you'll be able to just do what you need to do. And so that's what I'd recommend. It works well for me, and I'd recommend it for you as well. Okay, let's talk about calling elk. Now, there's various ways that people call elk. A lot of guys will use a cow call, kind of go, sound like the sweetie cow, There's different kinds of cow calls people use, and all of them work. All of them work. And so cow calls are a good way to call in elk. The other way you can call in elk is with your bull call. Now, you can choose what you want, but think it through. Think about the reality here. How manly is it to go out there and sound like a cow elk and try to deceive some bull and then take him down? Going out there going, meow, 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 and he comes running like a puppy looking around like that. That's not a real manly way to take an elk. And so you think it through and you process it. I know this is hard thoughts here, but taking a bull on his own grounds, you want to sound like the biggest bull in the woods. And you want to have him charging in at you, ready to fight for his life. And you're there fighting for your life. It's a man against man, beast against beast situation. And so think about that. So use the bull call. And you roar, and he roars, and he comes in, he's ready to fight. You're standing up there, yeah, come on, buddy, I'll take you. You give him a challenge. Give him a challenge. I want to do a quick review. You want to watch your scent, get yourself your scent situation set up. You want to be able to work with your calls. You got your setup. Be sure to stay in the shadows, move quickly, watch what you're going to step on. You want to be noisy, sometimes sound like an elk, sometimes you want to be quiet. Let's go on a hunt now. Let's go get ourselves an elk. Okay, now we're out on the hunt, and this is a good setup. Okay, you look around the area here that we're set up, and you got several shooting lanes. You got lots of cover, so when the bull moves through, you'll have an opportunity to draw your bow and you'll make the shot. You want to make sure that back behind you, you're not standing out in the open. Got cover here. Be better if I was move over in the shadows a little bit. See, we're in the shadows here. Yeah, now we're in the shadows. We're not lit up so much. Let me show you something. You wonder, is this a good setup or not? When you look back above you and you start looking up and you see one of these guys looking over you, that's right. It's a vulture in a tree above you. You know you've got the ideal setup. Because they've scoped things out and they've looked you over and they've decided this guy knows what he's doing, he's a killer. And so when you start making your setups and you got vultures following you, sitting up behind you, you know you have got your hunt dialed. Get ready for action. Do you see the bull? He's out there ahead of us there. He's coming up to the draw. I'm going to make a few steps. I'm going to get open. I'm going to make the shot. You get the camera on him. Focus. Thanks for going on the hunt with us today. That was a lot of fun. A few things we ought to say if we wrap things up here. One is, you might have noticed that my cameraman framed in a different elk than the one we shot in the video. He's young, inexperienced, and he was sidetracked by the symmetrical of that one bull and failed to realize the real trophy there was that one-horned rogue bull. Scored better, looked better. It was the leader of the harem, and so that was the real trophy there. But you know, with time, he'll get that, and when you hunt, keep your head, figure out that stuff. You have a clear head when you come in. There's several bulls there. You pick out the right bull, just like I did today, and you'll have a better trophy. Another thing's important, you know, when the vultures, those old turkey buzzards start hanging out with you and following you, that's really an affirmation, but it can really be a bad deal because they'll start following you, and the animals will see it, and they'll start figuring out the game. They'll be sitting on the rail out in front of your house or the mailbox out there, and then your neighbors will start figuring out the elk hunters getting ready to go hunting because the vultures are gathering. And so that can be a real problem there. And so you may have to do some evasive maneuvers, 2 cars, you know, you go somewhere, you ditch a car and this and that, just to leave them behind because they'll be following you down the road and everybody's just watching. And so, you know, it's not so bad 1 or 2, you end up with a dozen of those things following you. It's pretty dramatic. So what I do that works the best, I just kill one of them, hanging on my rail fence out there, hanging on the mailbox. Around Christmas time during hunting season, however, the mailman a lot of times he'll think that that's a gift to him because he doesn't know the difference between a turkey vulture and a regular old turkey, and he'll think I'm just being generous. Hey, that's okay. You need to build good relationships with your mail carrier. Just go shoot yourself another vulture, hang it on that fence or hang it on that mailbox, and just get on with business there. When you're talking to elk, remember, elk don't watch all those tapes. They don't know they're supposed to get 3 notes and do all that grunt stuff. They just do what they do. And so understand that. You just go out there and sound like an elk because the elk don't know what they're supposed to sound like. They sound like this, they sound like that. Have fun. Just try to sound like an elk. And take care of your hunting partners. You know, they're valuable. I say partners because you should have several of them, because you're getting a lot of game and they're doing a lot of packing for you, and they're being your bait decoy and all that stuff. One of them might come up lame, you know, something might carry one away one day. So it's important to have always a backup, and tell them how much you appreciate it and how much it's an honor for them to be able to hang out with you and hunt with you. Give them clean socks at Christmas, you know, show them you appreciate them. Even pass off an old turkey buzzard to them sometimes or something like that. But tell them you appreciate it. So have a good time out there. Be safe. And remember, get your elk. Don ton 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 ta da don. Don ton 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 ta da don. Don ton 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 ta da ton ta da don. Don ton elk.